Slavery, that is a very sensitive topic. However, my personal opinion is that we're in 2024 and it's a new time. And I'm not saying forget about it, but I just feel like we as black people shouldn't just sit around and mope about it.
What's up, beautiful people of YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. My name is Ellery, and today I'm back with an amazing video I'll check out with you guys. This is called Quit the Complaint and Move On. You know the drill, guys. We talk less and we react more. Let's check this out.
I feel like this is gonna ruffle some feathers and kind of get me
Oh, ruffle some feathers?
ruffle some feathers.
Don't worry about it. You gotta tell the truth. Jesus ruffle feathers all the time.
I wanted to agree with you. It was a conversation you were having with the other dude. I feel like as black people, we do victimize ourselves a lot. I see it in our community, and I used to be one of those black people who were like, I really like almost had this hatred for white people because that's what all they were showing me, until I actually went out and I started to go places and I started to see interacting with white people, and I was seeing how not every white person was bad, and it was shocking me how they were so nice. And so basically I just want to say slavery, that is a very sensitive topic. However, my personal opinion is that we're in 2024 and it's a new time. And I'm not saying forget about it, but I just feel like we as black people shouldn't just sit around and mope about it all day. Every time I get on another social media platform, all they talk about is slavery. And I understand that is very important. It's a very sensitive topic, and I don't want to be desensitive to it, like insensitive to it. But I understand it. However, I just feel like it's more to us as a black community.
Yes.
Like in schools, all they teach us is we are known as the people who were oppressed. I feel like we are a very creative people. We are very fun. We play a very key role in the making of America today, in society today. And I just feel like we are more than just slavery. We are more than just the people who were killed. We are more than just a people who were once illiterate. And a lot of people can argue about black rights, but I definitely feel like it went downhill once we decided to dwell in civil rights, because I feel like they only do what, in some sense, to an extent, they can only do what we allow.
100%.
How we had schools, but we chose to mope around and cry about them not letting us into their schools. It's like we have to make it like you said, we have to use the cards that we have and play the cards that we're dealt. I just feel like constantly staying stuck in this victim mindset that every white person is out to get us. I just feel like it's very.
We agree. We agree. It's interesting because I would imagine that every single person standing here would agree with you, right? I mean, I don't know how trying to get black people exposure as being greater than just this victim mentality, how is that bad? We know about the martyrs, but we don't know about the successful black people that have done so many great things in America. Like the automatic transmission in a motor vehicle today, a black man made it. The stoplight, a black man. Black people have invented so many things. We don't know who invented what, but we know who the last one that got killed by a police officer. George Floyd got so much coverage, which I think what happened to him was wrong. But my God, they made a statue out of the guy. But they won't even talk about Ben Carson. Most people don't even know who Ben Carson. I mean, I won't say most. I hope that most people know who Ben Carson is.
I don't even know who that is.
Raise your hand if you know who Ben Carson is. Oh my God, that's insane.
It's even the white people that know Ben Carson.
Y'all know who Ben Carson is? He ran for president. He is one of the greatest black men to ever live. And it's crazy that we know George Floyd, but we don't know Ben Carson. Ben Carson, a neurosurgeon, he the first person in world history to separate conjoined twins at the head.
Twins.
Nobody in the world has ever done that. Ben Carson
when I read about that
first.
stuff, I was
one
amazed.
of the greatest men that lived. He's brilliant. He came from humble beginnings. His mama was poor.
Super smart.
His mama couldn't read. That guy had an incredible story, and we should know him more than we know these other people.
And I feel like
it does. So you know who he is. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And I just feel like, as a society, we should magnify black success more than we talk about
victimhood.
black oppression.
Right.
And, I feel like we as a people, I feel like there's a spiritual warfare on a human race, not just black people, because we're not the only people in time who's ever been oppressed. Like, there's other races that has been through things too. It's just that we magnify ours more, and we, kind of dwell in that a little more. I just feel like, all in all,
you have a question in there? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I just want to say, I really just want to say something, because I just feel like it's kind of crazy to, I just feel like division is stupid.
Right, and let me tell you this. When people say, is America racist? I don't think systemically America is racist. I think that there's people that are unsuspected actors that are racist against black people, and they are our friends, our allies. Let me tell you this. If you loved black people, what would politicians do? Not give you a handout. They'll go down and look at that school and say, why is this school failing? Let's get people an adequate education so they can perform. And they don't want to do that. They want you to be ignorant. They want you to have poor schools. They want crime to be rampant in your community. They put abortion clinics on every corner. They got a liquor store on every corner. They put drugs in the community because they know people are going to sell it to each other. All of this. And what do? We call them our ally.
And they just
let me say this one thing. If a person tells you that that white supremacy or white privilege is a thing, that person's lying to you. They hate you, and they want you to always feel inferior to white people. There is nothing. Hold on, wait a minute. Be respectful to the young lady here. If you got a question, you can go next. Okay, just be respectful to the young lady. So, if they really was honest, they would encourage young black people to feel and believe that they're just as good as anybody else. Not tell you that some white person somewhere is better than you. I mean, white people poor too. And you guys who are at this university, especially speaking to the black people, what a white person on campus can do that you can't do? You go to the same classes, you have the same teachers, you have the same books, you have the same 24 hours a day. And many black people at this university, hopefully I'm talking to a few of them, that you will make straight A's at this school. And you will have a great education. And you will pick a major that's going to be a great investment for your future. And you're going to go on in this country, and you're going to dominate. You're going to be great. You're going to raise a family. You're going to do all those things because nobody can stop you. That should be the message.
I agree.
But instead, that's not the message.
I agree with that. Just one thing. I do feel like because we're black, we do have we have a lot more challenges than, but I do feel like we all do have the same opportunities like as white people, but I feel like, well, times are very different now. I mean, and I feel like a lot of black people are speaking from a more they're speaking from a past, and it's like America has changed a lot today. In some ways, I feel like that's not as significant, but I do feel like in some areas, in some instances, black people do have a little more obstacles than black people.
I agree with you, and everybody has obstacles. We can't feel like we're just uniquely situated where we just have more issues than anybody else. Man, everybody got problems. When I was a cop and I patrolled the poor white neighborhoods, they had the same issues that I remember growing up and experiencing. Just the only difference was they didn't have gangs. It wasn't no gangs, but poor, ain't got no daddy, ain't got nothing to eat, on food stamps, terrible schools, getting judged at the stores. I mean, you get a guy coming in with sores on his scratching his neck, man, the store owner like, this is a crackhead, it's a meth head. And they get discriminated against too in some cases. You know, one thing that I think that people should be talking about is classism. Racism is less of an issue in America than classism. If you are Tariq Hill,
in the world,
you can drive I don't know how many miles per hour and play the victim. Tariq Hill's rich. He can pay a ticket like it's nothing. You know, if you P. Diddy. Speaking of P. Diddy, how does man go this long doing all that dirt and all of a sudden he get caught I don't know how many decades later? I mean, when you got money, you at a different level. I don't care what color you are. You can afford a lawyer. So if you poor, white, black, or different, you get in trouble with the law, you get a public defender. And that same public defender suck for a black person and white person the same. I'm not saying all of them suck, but they're not equipped like if you had to pay for a person to defend you. That's a poor thing. Rich people get away with doing stuff all the time. They get away with
True.
these white collar crimes and all this stuff because they got the money to deal with it.
Exactly. Exactly. You see, Officer Tatum speaks fact. Okay. This particular issue of classism, it's safe to say, just as he said, that racism is much less of a problem, and not just in America, but all over the world. I mean, for places where they're of the same skin color, then you have tribalism. And even at that, that is not even as much a problem as classism. This is something that we see everywhere. It's more like when you're rich, you can get away with anything whatsoever you do. But when you're poor, you either take the axe for someone or you go in for everything you do. It's more like when a poor guy has a bunch of rich dudes as friends. If they end up committing the same crime, it's most likely that they're going to pin the entire crime on him. Mainly because the rich people have the money to set themselves free, but he doesn't. So he ends up taking the axe for them all. Now, down to this young lady. Her mindset, her views, her beliefs. I believe this is something every black person or every African American in America should adopt. The slave era is past. And as she said, just so you don't seem to be insensitive to it. But it's not something that we should continuously dwell on as black people. And safe to say, not just them in America, but literally every black race all over the world literally talks about this one thing, slavery. And I can honestly tell you that a lot of the black people, not just America, actually grew up with this feeling that the whites are distasteful beings, they are wicked, they are all whatnot, all because of that particular phenomena called slavery. But what we fail to understand, or what most of us, or most of them fail to understand, is that the people who committed that act are long gone. Our forefathers who bear the brunt of that particular phenomena are also long gone. And for our counterparts in America, they're having it good now. They're having it better. And basically, all laws in the system to make their lives miserable, it's gone. So, for the black community today in America to still complain about racism is really a funny thing, because it doesn't particularly I won't say it doesn't particularly exist, but it's not particularly as significant as it was back then. And like Officer Tatum said, when he was still a cop, he would patrol white neighborhoods and all that. The thing is, some white people too are poor, just as they said. They have typically almost the same problem as the black community. The only difference is no gangs. And if the black community can actually focus on themselves, they are very creative people. In fact, some very good inventions, just as he mentioned, were by black men. And if they can actually look at the stories of these successful people rather than the stories of all those that have been oppressed and all that, maybe they could begin to see a silver lining. Maybe they could see hope. And why they might not be having it as easy as other races, coping with the slavery and all that, their skin color is a dominant factor. Even if the Chinese was oppressed, even if the Hispanics were oppressed, even if the people in Ireland were oppressed, the fact is they are still white. So it's be easier for them to blend in. But when a black man is oppressed, his skin color is always there to remind him that he comes from a long race of oppressed people. So this particular victimhood mentality is something that the entire black community has to work on. They have to try to eradicate it. And it was quite shocking when Officer Tatum asked the crowd for people who knew Dr. Ben Carson. And it was funny that it was just the white people in the crowd that has actually read about this guy, that actually know what Dr. Ben Carson has done for the community. None of the black folks here know. But they all know George Floyd. That's the comparison we used. What happened to George was bad. It was wrong. But if we can focus, or if they can focus on success stories of their fellow black counterparts, then I believe they could see, they could make a brighter future for themselves. And generally speaking, I admire the way this girl thinks. I love how she has removed herself from that victimhood mentality. I love the way she expressed her views. And I love how Officer Tatum answered or collaborated with her ideas. You know, these are two reasonable people. Two very reasonable black people. And if there are more like them, they would push that black community forward. Because, as he said, if all you do is sit and complain about your problems, ain't nothing gonna be done. They set up liquor stores. They pump drugs into the black community. Those accused of selling crack, they'll pump the drugs in because they know definitely it's going to sell. Just as I said, you can't call that kind of person your ally. So, basically, I believe with two or more people like this, then the black community is really going to move forward. I think we learned one or two things from this video. Please do well to leave your comments in the comment section, and please remember to leave a thumbs up at the end of this video. If you just joined the channel for the first time, please click that bell button to be notified whenever I drop a new video, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, y'all.